I've kind of been teasing this video for the last damn near 2 years because I don't want to record it. You know, it's going to take me so much time to talk about all of these. So just to end speculation now, I will not be talking about every single record. I'm just going to try to show them off. Y'all have been asking me about my vinyl collection for many moons now. And while I can't show you every single record that I own, I'm going to try to show you a good deal of the ones I listen to most often. And if y'all like it, then I'll show you the remainder of my vinyl that I've got in my basement, in my dining room, in my living room, in this closet, and make this a mini series for 3 to 4 more parts. But yeah, for right now, it's mainly a bunch of soul music, some rock, some folk, and a lot of hip hop. I asked y'all to ask me some questions on Twitter too, by the way. And yeah, I'll try to get to some of those while I'm talking about and showing you the records. So let's get started. The first one I'm gonna show y'all is this Tierra Whack World 10-inch LP. Whack World is a fantastic project full of 1-minute songs, full of 15 1-minute songs to make a 15-minute project. It is a clear LP. It looks great. It sounds great. I've got another 10-inch LP from Injury Reserve, their Drive It Like It's Stolen LP, but I don't think I have it in this pile over here. I have the Lintons, Don't You Ever Walk Away. Royce da 5'9" sampled this on his track Overcomers with Westside Gunn, and I've been looking for it for a minute, and I'm glad he did it because I never would have found it without him. I don't know why I have two, though. This is Post Malone's Wow single, but the cover art looks cool. Maybe that's why. Della Humphreys, Your Love Is All I Need. This is a bonus track from Lou Bond's self-titled LP. This is I Kill Giants, We Can Live in the Exact Same Place. For those who don't know, Jeremy Zuckerman had a hand in a couple of the songs for this. And I loved it so much because Jeremy Zuckerman is also the same man who made so many of the soundtracks for Avatar: The Last Airbender and The Legend of Korra. In fact, I just recently, probably a couple months ago, found the violin piece for the beginning of Zuko versus Azulo, not the final Agni Kai full track, but just that beginning 10 to 15 seconds. And I heard someone stretch it out. It sounds great. It's not perfect, but it sounds great. If y'all been wanting to look for that too, I'm gonna link it in the description because I got y'all. Now let's get to the full LPs. This one is Kamasi Washington with the Epic. There are 3 LP in here, or yeah, 3 discs in here. I'm not gonna pull them all out because it's a lot, but they're all black. They all look really good. If you can see the cover, I think I dropped some of the vinyl in here just now. Yeah, but these all look good. It's a great jazz record. I can't put it back in because I'm a loser. Really dope cover arts in here. Fuck! Yeah, but this is a great LP for me. Really great, really soothing, calming jazz record. I love how crazy things get on the record once we hit the Magnificent 7. Next is Injury Reserve's self-titled LP. Rest in peace, Groggs, man. That was probably the worst news as far as, like, I guess you can consider underground rap that I've ever heard. Like, it was just terrible. Like, the timing was awful. Of course it would happen in 2020. I love the cover art for this too, though. It's got some really nice art to it. They included a lot, and it's just really saddening knowing that this is their last record together. This is Marika Hackman's Any Human Friend. I love the melodies and a lot of the choruses on this album. Akon's Trouble album. You all know how great this album actually is. Besides just Locked Up, this is a great LP, so I definitely recommend it. Standard black vinyl, but still a must listen. Next, we've got Speaker Box in the Love Below, Outkast, solo work from Andre, solo work from Big Boy into a double album. I love this LP, one of my favorites from Outkast. Culture from Migos, great LP from 2017, their best record, their best effort. I love this album. I really don't know what else to say. It's Kelly Price, Slippery, Bad and Bougie, T-shirt, Culture, Call, like everything. And now that the decade is over, we can finally talk about how this is one of the classics for that decade. Swans with To Be Kind, standard black LP, but I love the cover art on the inside. If you want to take a look, look at all these fucking babies. Look at them. Oh God, it's falling out, but it's good. See, look at that. It looks nice. It looks really dope. I love how sonically I can feel danger and anxiety on the horizon with an album like this. This was my first time ever listening to Swans, I think back in 2015. And yeah, I've been a fan of this album ever since. And I'm gonna keep this album to the side because I have a point to make about babies being on album covers and those albums never being bad. Sufjan Stevens with Carrie and Lowell. This made me not only love Sufjan Stevens a lot more, but it also made me love my mom a lot more. Richard Young's and Raoul Free with All Hands Around the Moment. Kneel by Mine is my favorite track, one of my favorite tracks of 2019. And we even got a little sticker poster of like what the inside of this is. Now we about to get crazy. We got Brockhampton with Saturation. Now there is not an official release for this LP, but I got a bootleg and it still sounds good. Y'all know Saturation 2 and 3 were my favorites, and this is not a standard black LP. I cannot fucking open it just like that. It's good enough. So until they officially release it, which I don't think they will, I'll settle for this. Got Fantastic Four with Gotta Have Your Love. Detroit legends, soul group from the 60s and 70s. Gotta love it. The Eminem Show. I really don't need to explain why I have this or why it's so great. Celine Dion with These Are the Special Times. I mainly got this LP a long time ago because of Ave Maria. And while I can listen to the original, her rendition, her cover is phenomenal. It will never make me sad. So soothing and like careful and comforting. Next, we got Drogas Way from Lupe Fiasco. Yeah, I love what he attempted with this record, and although it's extremely long, I think it's worth the listen for the story that it tells about connection and our history. I love the art in here, so yeah, I think it's definitely worth a listen. It's definitely something that you should have on vinyl. This image right here is probably the most hard-hitting, though. Next, I've got El Camino with Don't Eat the Fruit. This is probably my favorite. Well, between this and El Camino 2 and Walk on Water, this is probably my favorite El Camino project. It's a little hazier than his other projects, but it's really soothing at the same time. He sounds so comfortable on these tracks, and the soul just ends up peering through a lot more on this record than on others, in my opinion. So Georgia Ann Muldrow with A Thoughtiverse Unmarried. This is kind of more rapish than anything, but I think she does really well, and throughout her catalog, I would say this is one of her strongest. When I saw you and him walking, I don't look. You give me a chance, and I'll get it. This is Fuji. Mary, Don't Take Me on a Bad Trip. This is a classic record to me. It's so much funk, so much soul in this album. You can hear it. I don't really want to spoil too much because I know a lot of people probably haven't heard it, but listen to it because you're gonna love it. When I first heard this, I think I was probably 18. This is phenomenal. Oh, and by the way, these are all recommendations. I don't own a single record on vinyl outside of maybe 3 or 4 that I wouldn't recommend people listen to. Hermit and the Recluse, basically Ka with Orpheus versus the Sirens. This, I think, is so dope. One of my favorite records from 2018. Standard black LP, but what else needs to be said is Ka. Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes with Wake Up Everybody. I'll talk more about them because I have more of their records, but when we get closer to the one that's my favorite, then I'll really gush over them. Barrett Strong and Gino Parks with Strong and Parks. I love this LP. I think it was released in 2016 or 2015, but I couldn't get the single for them on vinyl, either one. I tried to get That's No Lie, For This I Thank You, Fire on vinyl as singles, but I couldn't find them. I couldn't get them ever. So I had to settle for this when it dropped, I think in 2015 or 2016. Caitlin Smith with Supernova is a record that came out this year. Unfortunately, it's a record that I have yet to finish, so I can't really speak too much on it, but I have faith in Caitlin Smith based off what she delivered last time on Starfire in 2018. So yeah, I'll listen to this and finish it eventually. Dog. The Butcher coming. Tana Talk 3. Tana Talk 3 from Benny the Butcher. This is a classic. I'm never not going to call it a classic. Fantastic record from 2018. Standard black LP. I'm just a proud owner of it because Jesus was this hard to get and was it hard to find like maybe 2 years ago, 1 or 2 years. And this is also being added to that baby on the cover story that I was talking about with Swans earlier. So I'm going to put this one to the side as well. Ice Cube's The Predator. I love this album. It's definitely one of Ice Cube's most underrated projects. I would easily put it in its top 3 in his catalog. Damn, what do we got on here? We got Wicked, which is probably my favorite track on here. I know this seems like it's so much going on Wicked, but Parlamento used on that track too. It just like adds to this hysteria and like there's no peace. This is definitely one of Ice Cube's best. I put it right next to America's Most Wanted. I put it right next to Death Certificate. Shit, we might as well get to some of these. Let's go from the bottom. Fiona Apple's Fetch the Bolt Cutters. I like this album a lot. I got to listen to it a few more times, but I like the elements from other genres that it puts in here so frequently and so often. Fiona Apple is a great writer to me, so I don't really have a reason to not like this LP, especially considering the Idler Wheel. She really can't go wrong. She can't miss. Next LP is Earl Sweatshirt's Feet of Clay. This is the tan disc edition. I really like this LP. I like the bonus tracks that it has on here as well. Can You Come Out of the Shit? I don't know if y'all can see, but if you have the disc, you can see like the image here and what's written into it. Earl Sweatshirt's names on it. I love the extra track too here with I believe that's Navy Blue. We got Logic with Under Pressure. Y'all all know how I feel about Under Pressure. It's my favorite Logic project. Michael Jackson with Bad. I love this album, not really, but I love this album, this LP more so because it has the recording session from Michael when he was, making the album. He looked so happy, like he was so into the shit. And I mainly love this LP because it includes my favorite Michael Jackson, one of my favorite Michael Jackson tracks, Leave Me Alone. Not only can I relate to that track, not because I'm a celebrity, because I sometimes want to be left alone. Everyone talks about how great Michael Jackson was, but they never talk about the Jackson 5, man. This is the Jackson 5's greatest hits. I love it a lot. I think my favorite Jackson 5 song, though, is Who's Loving You? But yeah, give the Jackson 5 their credit, too. I know the Jackson 5 was still mainly Michael, but, like, come on now. This is a beautiful era. I got Slow Ties, Nothing Great About Britain album. This LP is great, and the disc itself is actually really nice, too, if I can pull it out without damaging it. Look at that. Got Solange, When I Get Home. This is a fantastic LP from 2019. Reviewed it on the channel already if you want to know my thoughts, but yeah, definitely give it a must listen. But yeah, I have Justin Bieber journals on vinyl. I like this album a lot when I was coming up. It was, what was it, 2012 when this came out? 2011, 2012, 2013 maybe? And there's a good amount of tracks on here. Justin Bieber got in his R&B bag, and though it was gentrified a bit, I still think that his voice sounded nice. This album, I believe, came out in 07, 05. This has one of my favorite tracks of all time from Them Two. The very first time I ever heard Them Two, I was at my uncle's wedding in 2005, I want to say. And he was playing this. The next time I heard Them Two was when I was watching an episode of The Chi, which I never expected to hear again. And then I saw it again or heard it again with El Camino when he sampled it on the album Walk on Water. And I was just like, anyone who knew about it or sampled it, I'm like, this is the GOAT. I love this man. I love this person. It got me to listen to Betty Wright a little bit more. So this is definitely a necessity for me as far as soul is concerned. I like the images on the inside as well, the cover art. It's kind of historic in a way. Mavi's album, Let the Sun Talk. Loved this LP for 2019. Mavi had a lot to say about Black unity, about Black togetherness. Oh, shit! Brent Fires with Sunderson. I love this on LP, man. First time I ever even knew there were a vinyl for it was when I went to someone's place and they were already playing it. Don't ask why. And this is an amazing LP. I didn't realize how much I liked this LP until I heard it on vinyl. Not only that, but look at the cover art. It's fantastic. It's phenomenal. Don't hate because you couldn't come up with it. Not only is that phenomenal, but the vinyl itself, if I can pull it out without making an ass out of myself, is a beautiful, luscious red. Look at this. It is fun. Look at that. This is an album from the Meters, some really groovy funk music. It sounds good. It's soothing. Okay, this is beautiful. MC Smooth. MC Smooth is probably, she was like, when I was growing up, she was like one of my biggest female rapper crushes. Like I was just mesmerized by the way she would speak. It was so, yes, smooth, but it was so like sensual. She just knew how to talk. She knew how to talk. She had the gift of gab. I don't remember which number album from Barbara Mason this is. I don't like it as much as the Oh How It Hurts LP, but it is still really nice listen. So we got some LP that I don't technically own. I just have them. I just stole them though. From Carmen McRae, which is pretty cool. We got Clarence Lemons with the Her album. We got Rocky Robbins' You and Me album, The Crusaders, Alan Freed's Top 15. This is nice. Oh, this is funny. Ocean Avenue, the acoustic album. I thought I came up when I got this record because I thought I got the full version on vinyl a long time ago. and I ended up getting the acoustic version thinking I got scammed or something when really I just wasn't paying attention. But this is still a really good album to have the acoustic version of, so I still came up. Michael Orr in the Book of Life, Love Will Rise. I love this LP. Great R&B, great soul on here. They were dressing insane back then. Ivy Soul with her Overgrown LP that came out, I believe, in 2018. I'm sorry, 2018. And I need to get a different cover for this because I hate having to open that every time. I love the LP here. I love the way the vinyl looks, and also Roller Coaster is probably my favorite track on here. She just completely dominates and goes into different flows, from singing to rapping, talking her shit about who needs her and what they need her for. Gonna hate me till you love me again. Look at that. Look at that. Let me just pull that out on y'all. Like, that looks beautiful. I just want y'all to know. You gon' hate me till I'm getting undressed. I'm not putting this back in here. We got the Sugar Hill Gang, and though I don't listen to them often anymore, I still gotta have them because of what they did for hip hop music and how they changed the culture. The next LP I got here is the Karate Kid Part 2. I have a lot of movie soundtracks on vinyl because you cannot get me invested in the film really at all without the score being great sometimes. And this one really was. Not only did I love the movie, but the score for this was sometimes suspenseful, very tranquil at other times, and it definitely referenced the culture of where they were as well. I think I like this one in the Part 3 soundtrack for the Karate Kid the most. SZA's album Control. This is a record that I probably didn't pay too much attention to when I first heard it. It's a lot of great cover art here. And while I did pay attention to it, probably just didn't appreciate it as much. It definitely was a standout for 2017. I did still put it in honorable mentions, though. Everything in here from The Weeknd, A Love Galore, Something, Supermodel. She's got a lot of hitters on here, so I like it. Broken Clocks, too. Classic album from Brand New. The God and Devil, or the Devil and God are battling or raging inside me. I don't know how I call it a classic. I can't even remember the name. But this came out like 07, 06 or some shit like that. And I just think it's fantastic. It's phenomenal. It was a great record for its time. I've kept it in really good condition, honestly. I'm a little impressed with myself. You can see some of the cover art here. You see this. Really creative. I love what they did with this. We got Lydia Angworth and Gordy. I think these are both pop records. I don't even think I like them like that, so I don't know why I own them. Maybe they were good. I gotta re-listen to these, but yeah, these two, I guess I can recommend them for right now. Gotta have the classic Childish Gambino, Awaken My Love. This was a fantastic, probably his best album to date. Whole album about becoming a father and the birth of his child. I love it. Black Rob's life story. There's actually quite a bit to the vinyl packaging in this. I don't really feel like taking it out right now, but there's a lot going on in here. Shotgun and Pliers. It is fantastic. Murder, She Wrote. Let's not act like Murder, She Wrote wasn't a banger. Let's not act like you weren't telling women, I want to be your man, because you were definitely telling them that. 3 Days Grace self-titled LP. I Hate Everything is still one of my favorite tracks of all time. Etta James with At Last. This is a bit of a generic own for me, but you know, I kind of think it's a must-have. She's got one of the most dominating voices in all of R&B to me, so yeah, you just gotta give it a go. Just Me and You from J.R. Bailey is a phenomenal soul record from the 70s. I think everyone and their mother should listen to and love and cherish this record. There's nothing much to the cover or to the vinyl itself, but I demand you listen. White Men Are Black Men Too from Young Fathers. I liked how melody driven this album was, despite being slightly off the cuff. And I want to go as far as to say experimental, but not. Notorious B.I.G. with, what the fuck is this? Ready to Die. God damn it. Fuck it. Can't use that anymore. Let's just talk about the disc real quick though. Let's just talk about let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. This also is gonna go into the baby on the cover conversation. This LP is the best of Jerry Butler. I'm not really a huge fan of Jerry Butler, but I did enjoy this one a lot. I don't even think I bought this one for myself. We got the Lost Tapes from Ghostface, also a must listen. Backstabbers from the OJs is a must listen. Obviously Backstabbers being my favorite track from them. Oh, this is a classic. Halloween on vinyl is a different experience. It's a different feeling. It's a different vibe. Yes, the actual movie soundtrack, Kill Yourself. This is a great LP. It just is. John Carpenter really did his thing on this track. The piano work is phenomenal. Like, I think that's the fact that I can listen to this before I go to sleep, despite it being a horror movie soundtrack, is great. It's haunting, but it's like soothing in a way. I know that might make me weird, but like, listen to this LP and pay attention again to the movie soundtracks. They mean everything. And if anyone's going to argue me that the composition of the scene doesn't heavily add to the effect and overall power and intensity of a scene, I encourage you to go watch the movie Defiance, okay? And then after you're done watching it, go on YouTube and search the track Bella and Zeus. Or better yet, go to The Dark Knight, watch the movie, and then find the track Watch the World Burn by Hans Zimmer and James Newton Howard. That track is the definition of waiting for a trigger to be pulled. I'm still trying to find the soundtrack for Magnificent Natural Fist. You know, if I could find the LP for The Incredible Hulk from Craig Armstrong, who composed the soundtrack for that, then I would. But they don't fucking have it. This is the Bendith Band. I forgot who sampled this that made me want to get it so badly. There were a couple people, but Idol's Joy is an Act of Resistance was a great LP. I don't know if this was 2018 or 2019. I really can't remember. Next thing we got here is Brockhampton's Saturation 3 album on vinyl. This is another bootleg that I got. I had to get it. It's the same disc look as the Saturation 2 album, but I still thought it was a must-have. I thought it was a must-cop. I love looking at it on vinyl. This dude's face, Amir, did some great shit for it on vinyl. Lyra Pramik with Fountain is a fantastic, phenomenal, futuristic folk record. I love how it comes together, the emotions that end up colliding. Nothing is ever blatantly said, but the sound of this album is just so surreal. I haven't gotten something like this since I listened to Mate Frati's Pi Sobre la Tierra album, which was a great album to get you rooted back to the earth. It was so natural and organic, and this feels similar, but in the future. Definitely one of my favorite listens of 2020. Victor Vaughn with Vaudeville Villain from MF Doom. Probably top 3 MF Doom records. I love it. I love it a lot. Let Me Watch features one of my favorite instrumentals and just one of my favorite vibes just ever. Like, the vibe for this track is so chill and laid back. Here's another record that I've yet to finish listening to. I think I started listening to it and never finished it a couple years ago. R Green, You Disgust Me. I guess that's who it's from. If y'all have finished this LP and listened to it, you can let me know if it was fantastic, but I love the cover art for this. It looks like a bit of an asylum or like a mental hospital maybe. I'm not sure. Yeah, Black, this is a great album. Fantastic. Great debut. I love pretty much every song on here. Won't get a complaint out of me. Listen to it yourself if you haven't heard it. Master Ace with The Falling Season. I love how he tells stories. I love how from start to finish there's never like a slip or a gap in his ability to just keep an entire album connected. While sometimes it can be a little corny, I still think he does it so well. Pete Rock and CL Smooth. Pete Rock is one of my favorite producers. While I'm not the hugest or biggest fan of CL Smooth, I just got to admit how smooth this listen is all the way through. Mostly probably because of Pete Rock's production, just for me personally. Pete Rock also did another one of my favorites, I. I thought that was a great record too, and his production on that was really smooth, really nice. MF Doom with Food. The LPs in this are, I believe, white and green, and yeah, the cover art is really nice. I like the way this record sounds a lot. I think Potholders is probably my favorite track on this LP, and that shit looks beautiful. That looks fantastic, honestly. Dope. I like that a lot. I think that's Grimm at the bottom. People were telling me, I think months ago, that it was Grimm, or people were saying that it was Doom, but I don't know who it is. I forgot. I didn't notice it until they brought it up, though. I never would have saw him. We've got Shay Noir. Love Shay. I think she's also from Buffalo. I could throw her into the Griselda camp, or she could have an entire camp on her own. I love her new LP with Apollo Brown. I thought there was a lot of maturity on that record, but here she sounds hungry. She sounds like she's really excited. She sounds like she's ready to be in the mix, really enthusiastic at the same time as well. While the content isn't that great or that much different or varied, look at the LP. Oh my God, look at the LP. Jesus. Oh my God. Got here with me the new Blue in Exile record. Miles. It's really hard to remember some of these names. This is a great LP, though, that came out. I'm still listening to it. I wanted to listen to it on vinyl just to see if my thoughts would change a little bit. But yeah, I think it's a great LP. I think they did a great job on this one. All black LPs in some type of different covering. I don't remember exactly what kind it is. Oh my God, this is not supposed to go like that. Jesus. This one's a bit of a childish one for me. I don't remember how many years ago I got this, but this is the Sonic CD LP. Really, really phenomenal. Brought me back a lot of memories. I love the discs here. Animation wise, this was the first time when I was really little I ever saw Sonic animated like this. I was used to watching it on WD20, whatever, WB20, whatever that channel was, where they did like Shaolin, the Shaolin show, and all those other shows that used to come on Saturday morning. And I would watch Sonic XD every now and again. And when I first saw this animation for it, I was like, that's the way the show needs to look. When I was younger, I thought it looked so much better like that, so much more fluid. The vinyl for this is fantastic. It sounds great. If I could actually pull it out without having a hernia, see how lovely and beautiful the actual record itself is. The others are kind of like this, and then the last one I believe is a full blue one, but this is great. This is phenomenal. This is beautiful. Reminds me of childhood and happiness. This is the Spinners' second or third album, I believe. Second time around. I'm sure it's probably the second one. I wasn't a big fan of their 80s era as much. I've got a bit of a rocky relationship with the Spinners, them being Detroit natives. I've always felt the need to support, but I wasn't as big of a fan of their 60s era either, despite it being short. I wasn't really a big fan of 60s in general, just simply because of how instructional the pop music used to be. And when they got to their 80s era, it just seemed like they lost a lot of that soul. Don't get me wrong, though. I get you had to keep up with the times for that era of music. There was so much music that was becoming more electronically produced at that time and less organic, which is why I felt they kind of fell into that pattern. But I definitely was the biggest fan of this era right here from them. From It's a Shame to I Gotta Find Myself a Brand New Baby to their cover of Ooh Child. The Juggernauts re-release, I actually listened to this probably a couple weeks or months after I first heard MF Doom in earlier 2017. This is a nice LP. I really don't have much to say about it, though. Caroline Polachek with Pang. I love this album a lot. I've compared her voice to that of what a computer program would be if they could perfectly get to certain octaves and certain pitches and carry them out for full songs. I don't think the album itself is perfect, but her voice and the control and where it goes, I think it hits those areas perfectly. This one is Diana Ross, theme from Mahogany. Yeah. I loved every record on here. That voice is fantastic. Everything about her is fantastic. She's phenomenal. I love her. You should love her too. If you don't, you're trash. Clippings, self-titled LP. Story 2, y'all know, is one of my favorite tracks just all time in general because of the time signature changes that they have on there and how effortlessly it seems like they do it and how David keeps up with it the entire time. I know that's probably not the focal point of the album, but still, that impressed me so much when I first heard it. And as you can see, beautiful cover art. Next, we have the horrorcore inspired album, There Existed an Addiction to Blood. I love this record so much, even more so for it featuring El Camino and Benny the Butcher on a track where they're trying to illustrate how horrible things would be if the gangster lifestyle were portrayed the way it actually is. I have a full review for this album as well on the channel, but I definitely recommend to listen. A little bit more off the cuff, but it's still a great record. One of easily top 20 favorite albums for me all time. Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes with I Miss You. The title track is phenomenal, man. Like, I don't think I've ever been so grabbed and motivated to just prioritize love in my own feelings before. Like, listening to I Miss You for the first time, it eliminates certain aspects of you that may be prideful, may contain more ego, and it gets you to prioritize who you truly love and care about and why it's so pivotal for them to be in your life. This Ebony Woman, Let It Be You, Let Me Into Your World, I think this is phenomenal. Like, the way, oh my God, I just, as far as how I view romance, how I view women, just everything about it, it just, oh, I miss you, miss you, miss. Teddy Pendergrass did wonders for this group as well, but still. Next, I got Michael Jackson's Thriller album. We all know how fantastic this record is. I don't need to talk about it. Marvin Gaye's Trouble Man. I recently, probably within the last 3 years, got a reorder of this one because the order I had originally was kind of trash and kind of thrashed at that point. Trouble Man is my favorite track of all time. This is a Nez Fox at Memphis album. I love this album too a lot. While her work with her brother Charlie was phenomenal as well, I loved the solo ventures. I loved her solo work too. Interstellar LP. This is phenomenal. Mountains is phenomenal and very tension building. And Cornfield Chase is like the most playful, I'm going to run through these fields and, you know, chase a butterfly as a child. I think Cornfield Chase is like the most innocent track on here. Cover art is beautiful. It's phenomenal. It's fantastic. Vinyl itself is a little disappointing, though. I think they could have done way better. They could have made it starry all around, but it's still great hearing it on vinyl. It's still great hearing it on record. Next thing I got here is Flea Lord and Ito with Rock America. Ito isn't really my favorite MC, but Flea Lord definitely grew on me a lot in 2018, I want to say. This project was a fantastic record from the two of them together, so I believe 38 Special had a good hand in production for this album as well. So I've got here another bootleg, Isaiah Rashad. I love this LP. Y'all saw my first listen to this album. It was fantastic. It was phenomenal. I still love this album to this day. Webby Flow to R.I.P. Kevin Miller. There's just so much shit here to love. So I definitely think Isaiah Rashad did his thing here. Waiting on a new album impatiently. Gary Clark Jr. with This Land is a great rock record from I think 2019. Or it might be from this year. I'm not 100% sure. Regardless, this is still a great rock record. I haven't opened it, obviously. I haven't listened to it on vinyl yet. I don't know when I got it. It was probably a couple months ago. Ooh, we getting into some good shit now. Ka with Honor Killed the Samurai. I was actually looking the other day to see whether or not I had purchased Descendants of Cain. And I didn't know if I did or if I didn't. I was trying to go through my email, and I was looking at Honor Killed the Samurai. I don't even think they have this on vinyl anymore. I don't think there are any available. I don't know where you could buy one now. I feel goated just having it, man. Like it just feels so much more pristine and valuable. But the record itself is phenomenal. 2016, I believe, is when it came out. I don't think I listened to it to the end of that year or earlier in 2017, but it was definitely a phenomenal listen. Would You Believe from The Tempests? This is definitely one of my favorite albums all time. It's not a crazy, great, amazing album either, but it just holds a little sentimental value for me as well. This was an accident. I did not buy this on purpose. Jesus is King is awful, but the vinyl looks pretty. I'll never play it. It'll always be in mint condition. MF Doom and West Side Gun with West Side Doom. I think they show an incredible amount of chemistry on this project, and I would love to hear more from them. I actually think they have a more extended version of this on YouTube, not necessarily on streaming services or anything like that. And it is a nice, almost transparent yellow vinyl. Over here, we got Post Malone's Beer Bongs and Bentleys album. I don't really want to take this out because there's a lot in here, but there's some nice cover art, some nice packaging. Pastor T.O. Barrett's Do Not Pass Me By. I like this album a lot. I actually got tuned into it a lot more from Kanye's interpolation of his work and from the choir on here. Hollywood's Bleeding album. And this is great. It looks great on the inside. I think it comes with a little book on the inside as well. I kind of want to show you, but I kind of don't at the same time because I don't feel like putting it back in. But at the very least, I will show you this pink purplish LP that looks, look at that, man. That looks gorgeous. Post Malone has like some other images of him on the inside of this cover too. If you've got it, then you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, I don't want to really spoil it. This is a Prince Poe and Madlib album. I didn't find out about Madlib again or acknowledge his awareness or acknowledge his existence in music until 2017. But I've been a fan of Organized Confusion for a good while. I've always liked Pharoah Monch and I've always liked Prince Poe. But Prince Poe is someone that I kept up with more through his own solo ventures. And I do know that this record was released earlier on. I don't actually remember the year specifically. But I came back and found out Madlib had produced this album. And then I was like, oh, now it's a must get. It's a must cop. It wasn't only Madlib, but finding out that he was a part of something that was also a part of a bit of my childhood due to my brother's influence. I had to get it. This record is trash, but this is a part of my childhood as well. Really sentimental value. Pimp Squad Click is basically my entire 6th, 7th, and 8th grade years for the most part. Benny King. I really only got this record because I watched Stand By Me. I've heard people pronounce it AT-Aliens, Atlians. I always say Atlians. This is probably my favorite Outkast project. Y'all know how great the album is. I'm not going to sit up here and drool over it, but it is phenomenal. I love having it. I play it probably once a month, but it's still a must listen. Let's get to these. Ghetto Boys. My brother made me hate Ghetto Boys when I was first introduced to them. We would play these games, and whoever won the game got control over the radio. Obviously, we didn't have the vinyl record because we didn't have a record player when I was growing up, but he did have the songs, play it off the computer. Whoever lost the game, they had to sit through the other person's music selection for the next game, and he would always play the joint on here where they're like sampling the woman moaning and like the sex talk, and I hate sex noises and sex talk and just like all that shit in albums. So when I was first introduced to the Ghetto Boys, my brother made me hate them with a burning passion. But of course, this is the remaster. Local Natives with Violet Streets. I think this came out either last year or the year before. Yeah, standard black LP. I like the little cover in the back. It looks cool. I think they got some art in the inside too. We got Bruno Mars with Unorthodox Jukebox. And regardless of what people say about Bruno Mars, this dude had hit after hit after hit in 2011 and 2012. I mean, Young Girls, Locked Out of Heaven. I'm trying to remember what else was on here. When I Was Your Man, Gorillas, I think, was on here. He's got Moonshine on here. Natalie, despite how trash of a track that actually was, and as far as his writing, I even liked at that time. Treasure, like this album is full of hits. Like this whole shit is full of hits. Jid with DiCaprio 2. Y'all know how much I love this album. There's a full reaction review on it on the channel. Great record. Still love it to this day. I'm so sorry. Don't flame me. The Pussycat Dolls were it when they were in their they were. I don't want to really hear what y'all talking about. They had records with Busta Rhymes. I really only got this record a long time ago because it was Buttons. I was in love with Buttons when that shit came out. I don't care what y'all say. Y'all can hate and act like you never listened to the track. Shit was lit. Okay, it was fire. Funkadelic, Free Your Mind and Your Ass Will Follow. I listened to this I listened to this album again when I was redoing my Playboy Cardi Die Lit replay video. And it inspired me to make that video in the first place because of how much energy they were giving through these screams and these yelps. And it felt raw. It felt so organic. And I felt like at the time, it got me to appreciate a little bit more of where people were coming from, where they were talking about Playboy Cardi and his music and him delivering these ad-libs and not really having that much like lyrical density to his tracks or any layers or anything like that. I was listening to this funk album and I was like, damn, I feel like I get where they coming from a little bit. Not to put that on the pedestal of this in any way. You know, Die Lit is still ass to me, but do I have to censor that? I shouldn't have to censor that, right? YouTube chill. Yeah, but Funkadelic is legendary. They're fantastic. NWA Straight Outta Compton, classic record. The Beatles, Abbey Road, classic record. Dr. Dre with 2001, classic record. 2016's We Got It From Here. Thank you for your service from A Tribe Called Quest. Still a classic, still amazing, still fantastic. Love it as much as the first time I listened to it. Doesn't get any worse. It's only gotten better with time. And I just, like, again, I have to reference. They gave us 60. They did the same shit Kobe did. They dropped 60 for their final game. That's what they did. Musiq Soulchild is so underrated. As an R&B singer, he has given me so many. The Musiq Soulchild, when like his guitar work on Half Crazy was what inspired me to even want to play the guitar. No, I'm not gonna do it. It's not my show. This isn't my show. Y'all gonna get a cover of Half Crazy by me. I'm gonna just pull it out randomly. You're gonna be mesmerized. Look at that. Just listen for Musiq Soulchild. It's phenomenal. Musiq Soulchild is a legend. Eazy-E's album, Easy Does It. Wardell Piper's Mid-Song International. Kanye West's Late Registration album. This is phenomenal. There also is a record that has the live version of this, and that's a little bit more hard to find, I would say. This is probably the one that I like the most because I think it's the Kanye record that sounds best on vinyl. I've tried listening to My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy on vinyl. I wasn't really impressed. Okay, funny story about Lou Bond. This is a fantastic folk soul fusion record in my opinion, but funny story. When I first got this record, I was at a Gibraltar Trade Center in Taylor, Michigan. Y'all know I live in Michigan, right? If you don't, now you know. And I was in a Gibraltar Trade Center. Gibraltar Trade Center is like a store that they used to have when I was growing up that sold everything. Whether it didn't matter what you were looking for, this store most likely had it. It was like a mall, but it didn't have any commercial retailers in it, you know, a Best Buy or anything in there. If you wanted to go to an electronics store, you would find like a private vendor almost, and they were in the store. So they had ones for video games, music. They had one for art pieces, carpets, clothes, food. It was so cultured in this place. Since then, unfortunately, they've closed down. But when I first was there, I got this record, Lou Bond. Now, over time, it did wear and tear. So I got another record from Lou Bond probably 5 years ago. Unfortunately, I was super pissed for like a week when I first got this record because I was just confirmed that they scammed me because the color was different, everything. I felt like the record was a little different, but I didn't realize it was a remaster. I didn't realize it was a remaster, and I had to swallow my pride. I had to shut up for a little bit, but the remaster's good too. Usually, I'm not a fan of remasters because when it comes to vinyl, a lot of the time they're so focused on over-processing or trying to polish up on previous errors that they end up making more mistakes trying to perfect it, and it sounds worse than the original. But that isn't the case. You know, it sounds all right. But I usually listen to this one more, but I got both of them because I'm stupid. Aaliyah's Age Ain't Nothing But a Number. I said that I was gonna unbox this, so I guess I will. Let's go ahead. Mac Miller Circles. I love this album. I've still yet to play it on vinyl. So we've got the clear LP. This is a clear LP for those who are wondering, who are concerned. And then we've got this. I hadn't looked at it yet. I don't want to cry. I don't want to cry. Look at that. Oh my God. That is lovely. That is phenomenal. 10 Hands. Oh God, I'm gonna cry. Beautiful record. One of my favorites for 2020. R.I.P. Mac. This is a record from Piero Piccioni. For those who don't know, he was responsible for the instrumental that was sampled on Earth Gang's track. Don't remember the name of it, but it was Jermaine's interlude also that gave me pause, that made me want to come back to this. He used to be an Italian lawyer, and then he turned into a soulful, funkish, groovy music composer for film. So I always respected that transition and just how people can randomly get inspired to do other things. We got Trippie Redd with A Love Letter to You 4. I don't know why I have this, but I really like this album, so maybe that's why. Y'all saw me wilding out when I first heard this. It was still a great LP. I liked it a lot. I guess it's time to start answering some questions too while I'm showing you these. Someone asked me what turntable I have. From what I believe, or from what I remember, it's an Audio-Technica LP X120, or the X is before the LP, or it's 120, something like that. But I've used like probably 4 or 5 record players in my life. I have used some from other people that I haven't personally owned, but my most recent one before the Audio-Technica was probably a dual player from Sony, and then there was another one before that had like a CD player at the bottom. I've never owned a Crotley or whatever that one was called. I've never owned that one, but here is Nas with Illmatic, and we all know why I love this record. We all know why you should love this record. Nice cover, nice art. But this is also going to go, don't fall. This is also going to go into the baby conversation because there's a child on the cover. So here we've got Nina Simone, Fodder on My Wings, and I love the title track. It's everything. I never thought I would love it like that, but I do. Joyride from the Dramatics. My mom was a bigger fan of the Dramatics, not really me. I did like a couple of their tracks when I was growing up, like Stand Up and Move, I Get Carried Away, Say the Word, and whatnot, but they weren't like instrumental in my life when I was growing up. Like my mom listened to them a lot. By her listens, I listen. Another person also asked me if I opt for a more rare variant of a record, and I don't. The way the album looks doesn't really concern me. I'm just caring about owning it on vinyl and listening to it. Unless it affects the quality of what I'm going to hear, I really don't give a shit about what it looks like, if the disc is this color or that color. It's nice, but unless it has a part in how it sounds, I really don't care. The 7 Day Theory from Tupac Machiavelli, you get the whole gist. This is a remastered version, I believe, but it still sounds pretty good. This is probably my second favorite Pac album, next to obviously Me Against the World and All Eyes on Me. 50 Cent's Get Rich or Die Tryin', classic record. Every song on here hits, no matter what era, no matter what time. This is a nasty one, but you know, 112. I rarely listen to it, but I feel like I gotta keep it just because I might be in the mood one day. But this was a good album. I don't love it, you know, but it was good. Bad Boy has so much heat. Someone also asked me the record that I want the most right now. Probably the one that I purchased most recently was Boldy James and Sterling Toll's Manger on McNichols. Love that LP, one of my favorites from this year. I can't wait for that to come. This is Barbara Mason's Oh How It Hurts album. I love this record so much because she made simping cool. If you listen to this whole thing, it is all that she's willing to do for a man's love, all that she's willing to put before herself. And while it shows very strong levels of toxicity and a lack of self-care, what she's willing to do, the lengths at which she's willing to go to prove that she's down for the cause and she needs to be loved are astonishing. And not only that, the record itself sounds fantastic. Here we have my favorite album of all time, Marvin Gaye, What's Going On? This is Ito and Vinyl Villain's New Crack Era EP. Like I said before, I'm not a big fan of Ito, but I thought the instrumentals here, the beats from Vinyl Villain and Ito's flow over most of them made it very tolerable. This is the Blisters EP from Serpent with Feet. I love the cover art here and how all of this pretty much links to this inside image. It's almost like a window into like the spirit realm or whatever. It doesn't make sense, but it does at the same time. The intro cut is beautifully sung. This is Soil from Serpent with Feet. I've never actually removed the tag or the cover from this. I think I bought it last year or something like that. Leak Bros from Cage and Tame. I did listen to this when I was little, like when I was young. My brother introduced me to Cage when we were growing up. He was a Cage fan, not me so much, but again, he was a part of my life because of my brother. And eventually we ended up listening to Leak Bros. I got this on vinyl probably 3 years ago, but it's still an amazing record, all about their, misadventures on PCP. Trap Soul from Bryson Tiller. I don't know why I have this. As you can see, I haven't opened it. It just sounds so weird having or playing on vinyl. Not that I've played it personally, because I clearly haven't opened it, but I'm not motivated to play it on vinyl. This one is Suzanne Sunfor's 10 Love Songs. I think this is a very elegant, very beautiful LP. I don't actually remember when I got it. It must have been a few years ago. We got Johnny Mathis in the building. We got Lil Wayne with the Carter 3. This is also going into the discussion for records that sound great that have babies on the cover. We've got Earth Gang's Mirrorland album. I love the art here. I love how creative Earth Gang just are. I thought this record, though it wasn't perfect all the way through, was definitely a very strong attempt. Funny enough, I heard Shura being played in a Whole Foods the other day. Well, not the other day, probably like 2 months ago. And I was like, damn, like this place is actually cultured. Like they listen to a ton of shit. Like who plays Shura that that's a major retailer? Tonalities that are reminiscent of Janet Jackson. It's a synth pop record, but I still like it a lot. Eminem with the Marshall Mathers LP. Nothing to be said. It's a classic record. We got Schoolboy Q with Blank Face LP. This is Schoolboy Q's best record to me. Tuki Knows 2, Ride Out, John Mirror. I still don't pronounce that the way it's supposed to be pronounced. Jessica Pratt with, what is the name of this album? Why do I keep forgetting? Quiet Signs. Beautiful, angelic, alien-like voice that comes in, swoops you up in the middle of the night and cradles you like a pillow and carries you off to another land. She's so soothing vocally on this album. Another person asked me where I get my vinyl. I get them wherever. When I first started getting them, I would get them at like trade centers. Like I said, Gibraltar earlier with the Luban story. You can get vinyl at a Target, at a Walmart. You can get them at a garage sale, a yard sale. You can get them at a pawn shop. You can get them at a record store, most exclusively. Also try to go to a Goodwill. Goodwills have a ton of vinyl that they probably offer. Maybe you don't get the most, new record, but, I think the thing about vinyl that's so interesting is how willing people are to listen to it because of how little the investment can be. You can go to a record store or some Goodwills and you can get a bunch of records that don't cost much money at all and then have some favorites by the time you're done listening to them. So there's really no risk to buying a ton of records if they don't cost a ton of money anyway. Here we got Brockhampton's Ginger album. This was a great record from 2000. What year did this come out? Last year? Their most mature to date by far. Dearly Departed is fucking phenomenal. We got Sedan Archives with Athena. Awesome project. We've got Denzel Curry with what is this? Imperial. This is another amazing record from 2016, I believe. The 3-track run that Denzel Curry had from Ultimate all the way to Me Now was insane. The Never Story from Jid. Y'all know how much I love this record. Is this a orange LP? Hold up. I think this vinyl is orange. It is. Wait a minute. I haven't played this in a minute, but that's dope. We got Ice Cube with Death Certificate. We got Rich Brian's The Sailor album. Can't y'all tell how much I love this LP by the fact that I have not fucking opened it? In my defense though, all the records that you're seeing right now are records that I've listened to the most over the last 8 to 10 months. So some of these are a little bit more recent and I just kind of throw them over there, not really caring too much about opening them immediately. We got Tupac with All Eyes on Me. We know this is a classic record. I really don't need to get into why. This one is funny because this is the limited edition version of Igor. The funny thing is, I didn't know that the vinyl itself was the color it was until someone else showed me theirs. And I went home and I was like, wait, what? This is what it looks like? Because I hadn't played it on vinyl yet. It took me probably 6 months to play this on vinyl because I just didn't really care about it like that on vinyl anymore. Not to say that I don't like the record. I love the record, but it's just, it wasn't high on my priority list to play it. But it sounds great. You know, Flower Boy is my favorite of Tyler's, but I think Igor sounds really, really good on vinyl. And then we see the inside with Tyler wearing his little blonde wig. Credits over here. Great album. Next we got Danny Brown's You Know What I'm Saying. Got a bunch of stickers here. I thought that was a nice touch. Even though it's a standard black LP, I think it's a fun record. I think Danny grew up on this record too. He's a little bit more clean. Savage and Nomad is still crazy. Someone also asked me, why do I listen to vinyl? And the purpose of why vinyl exists. I don't really know why vinyl exists because there's not really a big difference in quality from the vinyl that you're going to listen to versus the streams that you might have or listening to the album digitally. But I think listening to vinyl forces you to put yourself in a sitting or a setting where you have to give attention to whatever it is that you put on your record player. Because let's face it, if you're going to turn on your turntable and you're going to play a record, 9 times out of 10, you didn't bring the record out of your collection and bring it to wherever your turntable is to play just one song. You're 9 times out of 10 going to listen to multiple records or the entire thing. So I feel like it forces you to have more intimate listens and to be more patient with the music as it goes from one track to the next. You're able to notice a little bit more because you're forced to listen to more of the album, as opposed to going on your cell phone, picking your favorite song, streaming that, and then moving on to the next artist whenever you feel like it. I feel like you have to dedicate a little bit more time to listening to a record. But does it sound that much different than what you would stream? I don't think so, not personally. Depending on who presses it, depending on where you get it, you know. We got Julia Holter's Have You in My Wilderness. This is a great folk record, really elegant folk. Better Off Dead mixtape from Flatbush Zombies. I also want to get 3001, unless I might already have it, but I don't know. I don't think I have it. But this is a bootleg. This is great though. Has some of their best songs on it. This mixtape is easily their best to me. And yeah, that's all I really got to say. We got 3 Days of Grace with 1X, their best project to me. We've got, what is this? Kenny Beats and Denzel Curry's Unlocked? Yeah. And the vinyl for this, I think, is pretty dope too. I don't think it's black. I think, what vinyl is this? Oh, it's clear. That's a little disappointing. Here we've got JPEG Mafia's newest record, All My Heroes Are Cornballs. A couple years from now, it'll be called a classic, at least for me. Perfect record though. It's just one of those records that I listened to for the first time and it just clicked. I don't know why it just clicked. Flying Lotus with You're Dead. Far Side with The Bizarre Ride to Far Side. This is one of my favorite albums. Again, my brother put me onto this when I was growing up. Really fun record. They always have fun, but you know, I really felt it on this one. Even on the skits where they were making fun of each other's mom. And this has one of my favorite all-time songs, Passing Me By. Oh my God, that instrumental is crazy. We got To Pimp a Butterfly from Kendrick Lamar. If You're Reading This Is Too Late from Drake, the boy, the sixth guy, the legend. El Camino 2 from El Camino. This is probably my favorite from him. I'm not sure though, but I think it is. We got Rock Marciano's Behold a Dark Horse. I think I've got this one and what is the other one? Reloaded. I think I got those two on vinyl. I still need to get Mark Berg his most recent shit. But yeah, this is a really dope LP. Really cinematic too. I love what he did with that one. This is the stylistics. Stop. Look. Listen to your heart and what it's saying. Stop. Like this is great. Like y'all making me get in my bag right now. What is this? Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes for the last one. I guess I'll show y'all today. To Be True. But that is what I've decided to show y'all. Someone else asked me if I collect anything other than vinyl, and not really, but I got a really small CD collection. I went down to the basement and grabbed these. They're, you know, Jasmine Sullivan. We got Celine Dion. We got Red, End of Silence. This is another. Actually, I'm excited because my Red LP that they dropped this year is actually coming on vinyl, so I'm excited for that one too. It's a bright red. It looks like you're dragging yourself through the pits of hell. Oh my God, it looks fantastic. This is Avant with Read Your Mind. Love Avant. I've told you all about him before. I don't know what these two CDs are. This was in my CD burning phase era, so I don't remember. I've lost a majority of my CD collection because of moving so many times, but it is what it is. Quasimodo, yes sir. I think I got this in 2018. You know, I'm not a big fan, but the instrumentals on this are beautiful. This is Rev Shines and Conway. I burned a Drake disc, a Ludacris disc from 06's 06 record. We got Frank Ocean on this disc. I had to have burned this in 08, 09, maybe 2010. I don't remember, but this must have some crazy shit on it. I need to listen to it. We got 112, Inner Peace record, Lady Smooth, CC and BB Winans. Tupac All Eyes on Me on CD is a must-have. Brandy's Full Moon, fucking amazing. King from T.I., I got that burnt. Disc 2 to Tupac's All Eyes on Me album. Boys to Men, phenomenal. Avant again with My Thoughts. I broke this, so relax. I don't even know what's on here, so I guess I'll find out later today. What is this? The fuck is this? Fun Crusher Plus. Oh, this is the LP joint. Company Flow. I don't even think that's mine. Kelly Price. Jamie Foxx's Intuition. Jamie Foxx has some hitters in 08, 09, something like that. Master Ace. How did I break this? Master Ace with Disposable Arts. This is classic right here. I need to get this on vinyl. And Micah Stampley with A Fresh Wind, A New Sound. This is or the second sound, sorry. But yeah, that's it for the CD collection, for the vinyl video. Like I said, I'll get to the ones in the closet. I'll get to the ones in the dining room. I'll get to the ones in the living room and in the basement for the next video. So yeah, that's the collection. This is probably an hour-long video. I might not even upload it based off how long it takes. If y'all want, you can add to the video. So what I was going to do is the top comment or whatever, if y'all can agree, you can decide out of all the records that you've seen me just pull out and show y'all, you can decide which ones I put on the wall. Because I'm going to take a lot of these down and replace them with other records. So you see Twigs and Freddie Gibbs and The Roots and David Ruffin up there and Pi Sobre and Bill Soul and Oxnard, all that shit. You see all that. Y'all can decide which of the records that y'all have seen. Y'all can just, if y'all can agree, I'll put like, replace 10 to 15 of the records that you see on the wall right now. That way y'all kind of get a deciding say in like what ends up on the wall, what ends up, you know, being showcased or whatever. But before the video ends, obviously like the video and all that shit, but we've got, which record do y'all think is the best? All right, we got Notorious B.I.G. next to Nas Illmatic versus the Carter 3 versus Tana Talk 3 versus fucking Swans. If I had to rank these, right? If I had to say which of these is my favorite, I'm going Illmatic number 1. Actually, no, I'm going Ready to Die number 1. Then I'm going Illmatic. Then I'm going Tana Talk 3. Then I'm going Swans, and then I'm going the Carter 3. In that order. That's what I'm doing, right? What are you doing? Which one of these is the best?